The new NFL league year starts today, which opens up the floodgates for signings and trades. But the two-day tampering period to begin the week resulted in some huge moves. Some are bound to be winners, and some bound to be losers. Welcome into the show. My job is to go over 7 moves and determine the early winners and losers of Monday and Tuesday's NFL tampering period. Let's call it Skinner 7. Oh yeah, I almost forgot. I'm your host, James Skinner. Let's jump right into it. Coming in at number 7, my first loser, it's Adam Schefter, for reporting that Milton Williams was signing a huge deal with the Carolina Panthers. Then, 30 minutes later, Ian Rappaport confirmed Williams was actually signing with the New England Patriots. Rookie mistake from a veteran like Schefter. A simple miscommunication, but he caught some backlash from the NFL community, which makes him my first loser. Coming in at number 6, our first winner of the show, I have new Arizona Cardinals edge, Josh Sweat. Sweat recorded 8 sacks in 2024 with Philly, the second highest mark of his career, but he really earned his bankroll for his monster performance in Super Bowl 59. He had 2.5 sacks and lived in the backfield against Kansas City. The Cardinals fill a big need at edge rusher, and Sweat is set to rake in a cool $19 million a year for the next 4 seasons, while being on a less crowded defensive line where he can really prove his worth. A win-win for both parties in my eyes. At number 5, and my second loser of the early free agency window, it's the New York Jets. They moved on from Aaron Rodgers after 2 underwhelming seasons, so they were in the market for a quarterback. Let's take a gander at all the intriguing QB options the Jets could have looked towards. Well, Geno Smith was available for trade, but they didn't make the move for him. I guess that bridge is still burned from when he left the team back in 2017. Sam Darnold's out there coming off a great year. That could be an enticing option. Oh yeah, they drafted him top 3 in 2018 and moved off him after 3 seasons. Zach Wilson's, you know what? Never mind, you get the point. The Jets were left with only one viable option. That was Justin Fields. They gave him $30 million guaranteed over 2 years. This is a guy who is on his 3rd team in just 5 seasons and has double the amount of losses than he has wins as a starter. This seems like a Hail Mary from the new Jets regime, and it makes me think this is a big-time loss. Back in the winners category at number 4, give me the Buffalo Bills signing Joey Bosa. The 5-time Pro Bowler was released by the Chargers and signed a 1-year prove-it deal to play for the Bills. Buffalo adds much-needed edge help, and Bosa gets the opportunity to prove if he still has some juice left at the age of 30. A huge win for both sides for this season and for the future. Let's get into the top 3. Kicking it off with my third loser, it's newest Giants safety Jevon Holland. Here's what Holland said on a podcast about what he wants out of the franchise he signs with.
Detailed and experienced coaching, a player supportive ownership, just, honest, culture-setting men, a men-leading head coach with a goal and a standard he holds everybody to. A team that wants to win and has players with like-mindedness about the team's goals and standards. Leaders that want to lead and set examples by action, not by their word.
Not sure the Giants check many of those boxes, Jevon. From New York's point of view, this is a great signing, securing a young, high-flying safety on a team-friendly deal. For Holland, however, I think his priorities may have got lost somewhere in the mix. Here we go, top 2. My top winner has to be the New England Patriots. They had over $120 million to spend and brought in 6 new names across both sides of the ball in just 2 days. Some big names include aforementioned Milton Williams, edge rusher Harold Landry, and offensive tackle Morgan Moses. New head coach and former Patriot linebacker Mike Vrabel will have some fun new pieces to work with in his first season back in Foxborough. Finally, our number 1 spot, my biggest loser of the early free agency window, is the Los Angeles Chargers. Despite making a few adds on the defensive side of the ball, they did not appear urgent in bringing in another weapon for Justin Herbert. They missed out on guys like Chris Godwin, Evan Ingram, and others, while also losing Joshua Palmer to Buffalo. The Chargers' offense looked lackluster in the wildcard round this postseason outside of star rookie wideout Ladd McConkey. If the Bolts want to take the next step to potential title contention in the Harbaugh era, they need to give Jay Herbo more playmakers to work with very soon. Free agency is just getting underway, and there's still a ton of spending to do amongst the league, while the free agency window shoppers are looking ahead to the draft in late April. We will send it to break. Thanks for watching the first rendition of Skinner 7. Huge paydays have been handed out to some of the NFL's premier stars. Find out the details that come with it and how it affects other looming stars in need of a contract. Then, the NCAA tournament is off and running. See which 2 schools survive the play-in allegations and what school wants to take their tourney snub to federal court. All this live on Cash and Checks and Cuttin' Nets. Welcome into the show. I'm your host, James Skinner. The Cincinnati Bengals have been a talking point of the NFL world all off-season. How will they keep their superstars happy and in town? They took 2 huge steps this week with keeping their guys in-house and satisfied for the long run. Superstar wideout Jamar Chase and his counterpart T. Higgins both signed enormous deals to stay in Cincy. Chase will rack in $40 million a year over the next 4 seasons, a record-breaking deal for a non-quarterback. The reigning Triple Crown winner gets his wish while getting to stick around with his buddy Joe Burrow. Higgins, on the other hand, will make around $115 million over 4 seasons, making him the highest-paid wide receiver 2 in NFL history. The offensive side of the ball is secured for the next decade. The next move on the Bengals' agenda, locking up star edge rusher Trey Hendrickson. On the other side of the boundary, Texans All-Pro cornerback Derek Stingley signed his new deal, making him the league's 4th highest-paid corner. This comes as a bargain for Houston, locking up one of the game's rising defensive stars. The original deal was reported to be worth $30 million a year. The Texans added a few extra seasons and knocked his yearly salary down to $22 million. A healthy move for both sides. Let's take a quick look at the highest-paid corners in the league right now. J.C. Horn sits at the number 1 spot, followed by Jalen Ramsey and reigning Defensive Player of the Year, Patrick Surtain. Then Stingley slots in at the 4. Tons of elite talent dominating the DB market. This list is expected to change in the coming months, however, as Jets All-Pro Sauce Gardner is due for a large payday as well. Last week, the Seattle Seahawks gave Sam Darnold a 3-year deal to become their new starting quarterback. The official contract details were released this week, and it seems as if this deal is different from contracts the league has seen. Seattle can completely get out of Darnold's deal if year 1 goes off the rails. If he doesn't live up to the caliber of play that he reached in Minnesota last year, none of the expected money in years 2 and 3 are guaranteed. Darnold is essentially working on a $36 million prove-it deal. This is a good test to see if his year 7 breakout was for real or he was a product of the system. Similar to Geno Smith's late career comeback, Seattle is giving Darnold the chance to not write back and keep his revival going. When we return, the madness of March is just getting started. 2 play-in games happened last night. Stick around to see how the winners got the job done. Also, one school is upset about their tournament snub. So upset, the state governor is now involved. All this and more coming up. In March, an auto bid does not guarantee the committee will give you an automatic first-round matchup. The first 2 auto bids to face off this year, Alabama State, the winner of the SWAC, and St. Francis, champs of the Northeast Conference. Let's check the tape from last night on that early tournament thriller. 5th tournament appearance for Alabama State, 2nd for St. Francis. Both programs looking for their first ever win. Under 5 to play in the first half. Juan Cranford Jr. squares up for the 3. Splash! 13 first half points for the true freshman. Within 90, St. Francis up 6. Cranford finds Riley Paca in the corner, make it 9. Largest lead of the night, but the Hornets are still buzzing. Amar Knox with a nice stop and pull. Won't be the last we hear from him tonight. Fast forward now, less than 3 to go in the game. Cranford driving, scooping, scoring. It is tied. 30 seconds later, though, loose ball, free breakaway for Micah Octave. Hornets go up 4, now up 3. Chris Moncrief, step back, shot clock cheese to tie the game. Sparrow Deddies take it away.
All for it all. Simpson, home run play, the deflection.
Oh! Knox is the hero for the Hornets. Alabama State moves on to face Auburn. Coach Tony Madlock on that final shot.
Not that I've been involved in, but we practice it a lot. We have multiple plays that we would do with 3 seconds. We just chose that one today. because sometimes it is just get it in, because we do also a situational deal. We shoot half-court shots. So we know with 3 seconds, you got 2 good dribbles, and then get it up. So, but we decided to go with that one today.
The other bout from last night did not include squads with auto bids. A North Carolina team who made the dance by the skin of their teeth, and San Diego State who just gets in from a sneaky Mountain West. Winner earns a date with Chris Beard and Ole Miss on Friday. Let's jump right into the action. Elliot Cadeau gets the bounce pass, drains that puppy. 9 on the night for Cadeau. 12-point lead early for the Tar Heels. Cadeau on the other end. Give me those cookies. Pushes it up for an easy Seth Trimble score. 16 off the bench for Trimble. It was all North Carolina all night. A few moments later, Ben Allen Lubin takes the Cadeau dish to the hole. 12 dimes for the sophomore guard. Second half action now. Here's a guy who could be in for a huge march. RJ Davis from the S in Madness. He finished with 26 points on the night, a perfect 6 for 6 from downtown, and the kids are just having fun now, up 28. Ever heard of a 3-man weave? Almost works to perfection. Trimble follows the Ian Jackson miss. Jackson still wants in on the action, though. Drains that one from Columbus. No drama tonight, all business from Hubert Davis and company. UNC secures the 11th seed in the South region. A team that is not in the field of 68 that many thought deserved to be, the West Virginia Mountaineers. Despite having the same record as their Big 12 counterpart Baylor Bears, who were given an at-large bid, the yellow and blue did not get as lucky. West Virginia Governor Patrick Morrisey went as far to come out and call the NCAA, quote, the National Corrupt Athletic Association. Many are pointing towards North Carolina's athletic director Bubba Cunningham being on the selection board as corruption. Cunningham stated there was no collusion, and Mountaineers star Tucker DeVries being out for the season was a driving factor for the snub. At the end of the day, the bubble does exist, and there will be teams left out. West Virginia just ended up on the wrong side of the draw. The madness continues tonight with the last 2 play-in games, and round 1 officially gets underway tomorrow at noon. Thanks for tuning in to Cash and Checks and Cutting Nets. We'll see you next time.
Coming up on Bracket Banter, a historic coaching duel took center stage in the second round of March Madness. Also, a matchup between the reigning national champions and SEC champions ended in madness. Welcome to Bracket Banter. I'm Nick Cafagno.
And I'm James Skinner.
James, you look a bit under the weather. Is everything feeling all right?
I might be coming down with something, maybe a little March Madness fever.
Well, why don't you take us through our first matchup, see if that helps you feel any better.
I guess I can try. I'll start off with a thriller in the Ocean State. Legendary coaches Rick Pitino and John Calipari faced off in Providence for the round of 32. Winner adds another Sweet 16 to their impressive resumes. Getting it started early, 2 minutes in, Carter Knox misses the 3, but Trevon Brazile is right there. Throws it down with furiosity. 8 points and 8 boards for Brazile. 4 minutes later, hogs up 4. Wagner drive to the rack, turns into a seamless transition for the Johnnies. Zuby Ejiofor, he had a night, lays it in, gets the foul. Arkansas led by 3 at the break. Second half now. Pass is picked off. Knox, looking like Caleb Wooden from the football team, finishes it on the other end. Under 13 to go. R.J. Lewis turns it over. Rough night for him. Wagner the other way gets Aaron Scott jumping for joy. Billy Richmond, the recipient, he led the scoring with 16. Largest Razorback lead was 13. DJ Wagner drives, not a hand in sight. That will put the Red Storm away. Rick Pitino had nothing but hats off for Coach Cal and the Red Hot Razorbacks.
They were the better team. They outplayed us, and they deserve to move on, and we don't. That's what March Madness is all about. Sometimes, no matter how great a regular season you have, you play this way, and you're going to get beat. But I'm very thankful. You know, the fact that we withstood all that foul trouble and still were in the game, it was a positive sign. But offensively, we just did not share the basketball enough, and that was our demise.
Tater tots are an American staple. Invented back in 1953 by Neffy Grigg, Grigg's legacy lives on through his frozen food company, Ore-Ida. Now, his great-grandson Richie Saunders is continuing his legacy by dropping taters in a bit of a different way. Saunders has been dubbed the Tater Tot Heir. He's leading his BYU Cougars into a second-round matchup against the Wisconsin Badgers. We go out to Denver, Colorado at Ball Arena. 18 minutes left. BYU leads 52-40. John Tanji with a three. Wisconsin now trails 52-43. He finished with 37 points. 15 minutes left. BYU leads 54-48. Saunders, there he is, he with a layup. BYU 8 minutes left. Trevin Nell with a three ball. BYU pulling away. Now BYU still up 9, 4 minutes left. Saunders with the layup. It's good. BYU leads by 11. Now minute 20 left. John Blackwell to Tanji for three. Wisconsin cuts it to 5. Now BYU up 5 with a minute left. Tanji drives to the basket for the and one. Wisconsin now only down 2 with the chance to tie the game. They give it to Tanji, and Tanji for the game, air ball. BYU's gonna win this one, 91-89.
The other team's gonna go on runs, and especially when they got great players like Wisconsin did today. But you just have to rely on each other and just really come close in a way that can propel you to win.
One of the most anticipated 1 versus 8 matchups in this year's tournament ended up being all any college hoops fan could ask for. The last 2 programs to win back-to-back titles, Florida Gators and UConn Huskies, they began the Sunday afternoon slate in Raleigh. Dan Hurley and his Huskies on the hunt for a three-peat, a much harder hill to climb than the past 2 years. UConn down 6 early, wing 3 for Liam McNeely. He finished with 22. Nearing the halfway point, Samson Johnson reels in that rebound, finds McNeely, who drives, slams, and rattles the rim in Raleigh. Gives a little tap on the head afterwards. Game was tied at the break, second half now. Solo ball, driving, nice dish down low for Hassan Diarra and the foul. Everyone getting involved for Connecticut, but the Gators are not out of it. Alex Condon opens up some space for a free 3. Will Richard, 15 for him. Now 3 to play. UConn by 2. Walter Clayton, star of the show, 23 for him. On the other end, Richard pokes it away and puts it down with ease on the other end. The Gators are in another gear, up 3, $1:15 to go. There isn't a shot Clayton does not like. Ooh, baby! That ended up being the dagger. UConn's buzzer beater keeps it close, but the Gators escape a huge upset and keep chomping. The Gators end UConn's hopes for a three-peat, but it's hard to be mad if you're a Huskies fan. This Gators team has been flat out dominant, a consensus top 5 team for basically the whole season. They earn another huge win with their 17th Quad 1 matchup this weekend coming up against Maryland. After the break, we take a deep dive into some lower-seeded winners of the weekend. Then we'll discuss the upcoming matchups in the Sweet 16. Go grab your snacks. We'll be back shortly. Welcome back to Bracket Banter. The top seeds in this year's tournament have dominated the lower mid-majors, with the 12 seed being the lowest seed to make it out of round 1. Everyone still has their eyes on the 1s and 2s, so Nick and I have the rundown on what non-top seeds to watch out for. Who's up first, Nick?
Kicking us off is going to be the Michigan Wolverines. This team has been surprising a lot of people, winning the Big Ten and now making it to the Sweet 16. They're on a 5-game win streak, and they've been underdogs in 4 of those 5 wins. The team relies a lot on their 2 7-foot monsters in Vlad Golden and Danny Wolf. The duo, nicknamed Area 51, both made the All-Big Ten second team. Wolf and Golden also have had plenty of help with guards Roddy Gale and Trey Donaldson. The Wolves have gotten hot at the right time and match up with the Auburn Tigers next.
Next in line, the Purdue Boilermakers. We saw 2 impressive wins in the opening weekend from them, and they're playing their best brand of basketball this season. Trey Kaufman-Wren has been a force inside and will be hard to stop going forward. Junior lead guard Braden Smith has also been playing his game on both ends. His scrappiness and high IQ offensive ability makes the Boilermakers a quiet giant going forward. They draw the #1 Houston Cougars in Sweet 16.
Now on to the Texas Tech Red Raiders. The Red Raiders have been led by Big 12 Player of the Year J.T. Toppin and forward Darion Williams. Toppin has been impressive throughout his first year at Texas Tech, putting up all-time highs in all his statistics. This standout performance led the school to their most wins since 2019. They're now moving on to the regional semifinals for the first time in 3 seasons. Texas Tech will be matching up against Arkansas with the shot for the regional final on the line.
And finally, the number 4 seed from the West region, Maryland Terrapins, need everyone's eyes on them. They run a fast-paced offense and can score in a ton of ways. No matter what higher seed they match up with down the line, the points are guaranteed to flow in for the Crab Five. After a Derek Queen buzzer beater last round to win the game, the Terps are riding high but need to use all they've got this weekend versus Florida.
Now it's time for me and James to give you our predictions for the Sweet 16 matchups. James, kick us off with Kentucky versus Tennessee.
Classic SEC matchup. You know, love Rick Barnes. He knows the X's and O's, but I also love Mark Pope. He brings the energy for the guys. It's going to be a great game. Both teams playing so well. But give me Tennessee by a few points. How do you feel about Florida, Maryland?
Florida has been arguably the best team in college basketball all season, led by Walter Clayton. But going up against this Crab Five, coming off a scrappy win against Colorado State, I think Florida still gets it done. What do you think about Auburn, Michigan?
Auburn, the number 1 overall seed. Michigan is red hot, and I think they match up pretty well with them. But Auburn just needs to shoot the ball well, and they're going to win this game. I mean, Auburn by 7 or more, in my opinion. Give me Houston or Purdue.
You touched a lot on Purdue earlier. I think this Purdue team has impressed me a lot this tournament. TKR has been one of the better players we've seen all tournament long. I think Houston is susceptible to mistakes. Give me Purdue with the upset. Talk to me about Texas Tech, Arkansas.
Arkansas, the Razorbacks are red hot, playing their best basketball of the year. But I don't think Texas Tech should have any problem getting to their spots. Give me Texas Tech by 3-4 points. How about Duke, Arizona?
Duke, Arizona, really interesting matchup. Arizona led by Caleb Love. They've been really impressive this tournament, getting out another scrappy win against Oregon. But I think this Duke team is too much for anybody to handle. Give me Duke pretty easily. What about BYU, Alabama?
2 high-octane offenses. If you're a bettor, I wouldn't even think about this under. Cougars are playing great basketball, but I don't think BYU has the defense to keep up. Give me Alabama. And let's round it off. Ole Miss, Michigan State.
Ole Miss, Michigan State, really another great matchup. Ole Miss, they've been impressive this tournament, being one of the lower seeds in the Sweet 16. Michigan State, led by Tom Izzo, they're always a problem. I love the idea of a Michigan State-Michigan Elite Eight. Give me Michigan State. The Sweet 16 kicks off on Thursday, March 27th at 7 p.m. Eastern with Alabama taking on BYU. For Bracket Banter, I'm Nick Cafagno.
And I'm James Skinner. There is a lot on our plates today in sports news. We'll take a look at an ACC quarterback wide receiver duo's pro day, along with a potential Hall of Fame quarterback on the move. Baseball season's underway, what to look forward to in 2025, and a huge portion of basketball news along with some hockey for dessert. Prepare your appetites, it's time for a full course meal. Welcome into another edition of the Skinner Table, where your favorite sport gets a spot for the meal. I'm your host, James Skinner. Let's take our first dish down to South Beach, where the potential number 1 pick in this year's NFL draft and his Hurricane counterpart had their pro days. Miami quarterback Cam Ward lit up the field for his pro day on Monday. This was a highly awaited event since Ward elected not to throw at the Combine. The Heisman finalist threw in front of 90 NFL scouts, including reps from the Tennessee Titans who hold the number 1 pick. His throws impressed those who were in attendance, but didn't show anything that you couldn't pull from his tape over his college career. Ward feels confident in what he put together on Monday and thinks he may have done enough to secure his draft spot.
I'm solidifying it today. They finally got to see me throw in person. You know, that should be all they need to see. But at the end of the day, you know, whether they want to give it the pick or not, I'm going to be happy with whatever team I go to. So I'm just trying to play football. I'm just excited to see where I'm going to end up so I can finally learn the playbook. I do want to expedite it a little bit, get the draft day, see where I'm going to end up, but I'm just taking it all in, exploring, you know, just living the journey right now.
Ward is not the only player on Tennessee's radar. They're keeping their options open, whether they take Ward or Colorado's Shedeur Sanders and build around the quarterback position, take Abdul Carter and build the defensive foundation, or trade down and build draft capital. They have had months to decide, and they will get to make their choice in less than 30 days. Along with Ward, his number 1 target this past season worked out, Xavier Restrepo. Ward and Restrepo connected 69 times for over 1,100 yards and 11 touchdowns in 2024. Restrepo's pro day stood out for all the wrong reasons, however. He ran an unofficial 4.83 40 time, which is very slow for a wideout. It was released afterwards that he was dealing with a hamstring injury, which limited his speed. Thankfully, Restrepo relies on his large route tree and ability to separate, so this shouldn't hurt his draft stock. He's still projected to be a day 2 or 3 pick this year. Moving on to our next portion, some current NFL news. The New York Giants add another signal caller to their quarterback room. 10-time Pro Bowler Russell Wilson agreed to sign a 1-year deal worth $11 million. Wilson heads back to the NFC and will now call MetLife Stadium home, the place where he won his only Super Bowl in the 2013 season. This move comes days after the team signed Jameis Winston. The two veterans are expected to battle for the starting job. The MLB season is just now beginning. Let's dig into some baseball. It's finally opening day. Major League Baseball's 124th season begins. After some major shift in the offseason, it's time to finally sit back and enjoy America's pastime for the next 7 months. The Dodgers and Cubs technically kicked off the season in Tokyo last week, but the first game of Thursday's opening day slate is the Brewers and Yankees. The Bronx Bombers hope to replace the production of Juan Soto, who they lost in free agency, while Soto and his new Mets squad get started on the road in Houston versus the Astros. The first season of Soto's 15-year deal comes with high expectations, with tons of eyes on their roster and owner Steve Cohen. Some other matchups to keep an eye on: Garrett Crochet makes his Red Sox debut against former Sox Nathan Eovaldi as Boston visits the Rangers in Texas. As well as a rematch of an NL wildcard showdown, the Atlanta Braves start their year on the West Coast in San Diego. A notable weekend slate to open up the season to get fans asking for more and more portions. After the break, the main course, all-you-can-eat basketball news, NBA, and college hoops. But don't fill it before dessert. You'll want to save some room for this epic NHL showdown when we return to the Skinner Table. Welcome back to the Skinner Table. You little rascals better have washed your hands. Get ready for our next dish. A nail-biter in Indiana came down to seconds between the Pacers and Lakers. The 4 seeds in their respective conferences face off. Lakers won the first matchup back in February. Started off 1 minute till half. Luka from Fort Wayne, one of his 6 threes of the night, stepped up for LeBron big time tonight. Lakers led by 13 at the break. Now first possession, second half. Tyrese Halliburton went at that Luka and Reeves defense all night. 16 for him. Now Reeves is going to find Doncic. 34 total for Doncic. 4th straight game with 30 points. Beautiful shot over Andrew Nembhard. Halliburton once again razzle-dazzle. He's too good at this. 18 dishes for Hallie. Sounds like what's at the Skinner Table tonight. Final 15, Pacers by 1. Lakers grab the Neesmith miss. Need 2 to win it. Mark Davis, paint the picture.
Luka with 2 for the win. Tipped up and in. Will it count? LeBron James at the buzzer.
A quiet night from the King ends with a roar. LeBron was weary before a celebration, though.
Emotion because I was trying to see if I got the ball off in time, to be honest. It's always tricky when that, you kind of touch the ball, you kind of see the red light around the backboard, and you don't quite know if you got it on time. I thought I had it on time, but you never know. Sometimes, it's always that split second, seeing if the tip of your fingers are on the ball or not. But after they showed the replay on it, it was definitely gratifying to know, especially the way we've been playing.
Wow, what a game. The big talk of the week in college basketball is March Madness, but the post-first weekend coaching changes and transfer portal entries could get lost in the mix. The next great head coaches showed out at their mid-majors to begin the month and are already on the move. The first big domino was highly coveted Drake coach Ben McCollum being hired by Iowa. McCollum coached at Division II Northwest Missouri State for 15 seasons before being hired at Drake last season. He rocked the college hoops world in a short time and nabs a Big Ten job after 1 year at the Division I level. McCollum returns to his hometown of Iowa City and will lead the Hawkeyes next season. Another big move is New Mexico's Richard Pitino going to Xavier. Pitino will now coach against his father Rick twice a year in Big East play. Xavier made this corresponding move because their coach Sean Miller went on to Texas after they let go of Rodney Terry. A step up for both Miller and Richard Pitino as they land jobs in more coveted conferences. Expect some of these moving coaches to bring along their guys who have entered the transfer portal. Since the transfer portal began in 2018, the college sports offseason has been more chaotic than ever. After only one weekend of the tournament, many guys who made a name for themselves are looking to go elsewhere. Some of these names include New Mexico guard Donovan Dent, the reigning Mountain West Player of the Year, averaged 20 points a night in his true junior season. He plans to use his final year of eligibility and move to a premier conference to compete for a national title. Drake star Bennett Sturts is following his head coach once again. He followed McCollum to Drake from the D2 level and now will be enrolling at Iowa. And North Carolina will be losing two of their four-star prospects, Elliot Cadeau and Jalen Washington, two of the more enticing names in the portal as of now. A player in the portal that intrigues me the most, Trayson Eaglestaff. Remember the name. The junior shooting guard played 3 seasons at North Dakota and is rumored to be on many SEC and Big 12 teams' radars after dropping 51 in a conference tournament game. Now to our last portion. I hope you saved some room for this. An exciting Wednesday night battle in the NHL where it was truly a game of periods. Stars have won their last 2. Oilers have won 3 straight. Middle of the second now. Stars off to a quick 2-0 lead. Jason Robertson, he scored earlier in the period, and he turns this 2-on-1 into a second. Slots it stick side by Stuart Skinner. Great last name, not his best net minding tonight. Later in the period now, Stars Thomas Harley's wrister from the top of the key will get redirected by guess who? Jason Robertson, a natural hat trick for him. Stars command this game 4-0. We will skip ahead late in the third now. The Oilers notched 2 back, but was it enough? They pull Skinner. Evan Bouchard's slot tapped in by Zach Hyman. In the blink of an eye, it's a 1-goal game, but unfortunately the party in Edmonton would end before it started. Dallas holds on and picks up their 96th point. Oilers coach saw a lot of positives in the loss.
We made one mistake and we're down 1-0 after the first period where I thought we had a lot of good chances, couldn't put it in. Third period was a lot more like the first, maybe a little more push, and we were able to put the puck in the net. So, I was very, very pleased with our first and third periods.
I don't know about you, but I'm getting real full. But that's all we have today for the Skinner Table. I hope to see you next time when you're fully digested. Thanks for feasting with me. I'm James Skinner.